What's the worth if you gain the whole world but lose your soul? The name Eowyn, every time people call me to remind me of is Eowyn, this character defies the tradition, and also at the same time she sacrificed in the end. I intentionally chose my name Eowyn. That was from the Lord of the Rings. We touched about it briefly. It was an intentional decision.
Where did you see the God sign for you?
This has been the most non-crypto conversations that I've ever had. I was hosting a Bible study in San Francisco, and one of my friends was Binance first CEO. And one day she brought two ladies to my apartment, and one of them was the co-founder of Binance. Life journey is about building characters, becoming a better person, because that's something that no one can take that away from you.
Do you think kindness is actually a weakness in business?
It's hard to keep trust, just like in human relationships. You have to prove it again and again in every single engagement and interactions and touch point that you have with another person or with a product and services, that you keep showing that you're trustworthy.
I started this podcast to meet people like you and have this type of conversations.
When everything seems very rosy, bubbly, everyone's cheering for it, I'll be like, it's too much emotion to see the truth. Now it's a more interesting time to see if there's something substantial with the industry. And it kind of feels like grandma is buying stocks in the supermarket.
Do you think your biggest competitor is your company itself?
The more competition that you can have, it actually means there are more experiments running on the market.
That was a very corporate answer.
This is my first time that I share what I share with you in a relatively more public forum.
Welcome back, guys. ICN Talks. In today's episode, a very special guest indeed for the very first time, Eowyn Chen, CEO Trust Wallet. How are you doing?
I'm doing great. Thank you for having me. And
Yes.
great to see the audience and be on the channel.
Yes, thank you so much for coming. And how it's been for you lately?
Oh, today's news is great. We're sitting here November 6th, and then we just heard the election results from the US. I think the whole crypto industry is pretty happy about it.
We are heavily celebrating right now, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, indeed.
Who won, right? And then this is actually an exciting moment for us to do any future plannings too.
Yes, I think that's going to be a very nice stage from now on for the entire industry, with Trump being elected. And what are the points from your company perspective? Like why these kind of things have such a global implications?
There are a couple of levels. I think, first of all, U.S. as a whole has lots of global influences, politically, economically, and also for the crypto industry, the U.S. crypto circles has also been extremely influential, both with great projects as well as lots of crypto owners as well. And I think the global impact, we're sitting here in the Middle East, but then, no matter it's the global regulatory potential framework or the talents, opportunities are all heavily influenced by what are the directions I think the U.S. is going still. So with Trump become the next U.S. president for the 4 years, I think, and he made a very, very strong commitment and statements showing that he deeply understands the importance that blockchain as a technology for the U.S. Is very important for both the talents perspective and from capital perspective to be willing to invest further into this industry. And his family personally committed to building a project right in our space. And I think is the action speaks louder than the words. So we do hopefully that the crypto industry has been in relative more of a fearful kind of emotions when it comes down to the macro environment movement. This is one of the best optimism I think we kind of need as we look into the next 4 years.
At the company level, can you explain a little bit about Trust Wallet? I want people to frame you exactly as a business.
Yes. I'm just curious, how did you know Trust Wallet as the first?
Being in the industry, of course, it's one of the top options, right? When it comes to holding your tokens, cryptocurrencies. But I want to discover more things from your side.
Sure.
Why Why would you use Trust Wallet?
Yeah. Well, Trust Wallet, we're just talking about that you've been in the industry since 2017, and then Trust Wallet was born in the 2017. So this year was our 7th year. And we're right now still the largest mobile crypto wallet out there. We just almost hit our 150 million total downloads globally. And I think the Binance's registered users is probably 230 million. So, of course, what we're proud of is that the numbers that we have seen representing the boundaries and how many users are potentially interested in the decentralized world, in the on-chain world. And we believe that, when we were born back in 2017, that was still a clunky world with wallets, that most of them are desktop. When you're doing ICO token harvesting, probably you have to use a browser extension, or you have to do the code yourself. And then we just wanted to create something simple to empower everyday people, that you don't have to worry about the technology too much. You can hold all your shitcoin in your one hand. That was the reason that it was created. So being a mobile first wallet, our mission has always been how to create simplified product, how to simplify the technology behind the scene to give normal people more confidence to navigate through the blockchain and crypto world, so that they can thrive in this larger environment.
Who is your biggest competitor?
I wouldn't say, well, you can say competitors. Our biggest peers are, I think, MetaMask for sure. They are older than us, so they're also leading in the browser extension space. We often collaborate too. For example, we will compare a lot of the security notes. What are some of the best practices for doing wallets in the industry? How to combat scammers, hackers, all those things that, wallets face, users face, that we feel the pain for the users. And I think that was fantastic. It's like, I love our group chat with Tay on that because we're building together for the industry and pushing the boundaries.
Do you think your biggest competitor is your company itself?
Always. And I think that's always the biggest challenge. The speed and the innovation that a company can have, I think mostly is more internally constrained than externally constrained. I actually find external competition to be a great thing because, especially in a fast-growing industry like ours, the challenges lies in you don't get enough resources to do experiments, to find the best solutions, to set the industry standards with one company. So the more competition that you can have, it actually means there are more experiments running on the market. Then established companies, brands like ours and MetaMask were probably more concerned about securities or some of the fundamental user experiences that doesn't break for tens millions of the users. But then we can also get to see so many innovation that happen with smaller players, newer players that can take innovative approach, and we can learn from them too. So I often think external competition, if treated right, is one of the best learning playground and helps to speed up the internal iterations for the product too. And then the internals are usually the constraints about how fast, how much, how daring to make certain decisions and actions.
That's going to be actually for the outdoor world. The outdoor world is a reflection of the internal world, right? The way how
that's
you
very
manage.
Philosophical.
Yeah, but it does
it
make sense, right?
Yeah.
The way how the energy inside of the company, that's exactly what people will see and will perceive the company from outside. I'm a marketer, so from my perspective, businesses in general fall in these three major categories. Either is health, wealth, or relationship. And then I see your business in being obviously in the wealth space because it's money related. You protect those financial assets, but through the relationship, right?
Yes.
AKA
Yes.
trust.
Yes,
So
absolutely.
how do you build that actually in this onboarding process for your customers acquisition, right?
Yeah.
Like, how do you build that trust? Where do you put the trust as a layer in this funnel?
Yeah. I often describe that even though we're building a trustless technology, which essentially means we allow transparency and verification, but we're doing technology that empower people's life. And how human makes decisions, sometimes it's not that you're verifying every single pull request and code update when you're using a particular product or protocols. So I think trust is one of the most efficient lubricant for humans to make decisions. And since you're a marketer, I would say trust is, to us, one of the most important brand elements, assets that we will ever have. And it's hard to keep trust. Just like in human relationships, you have to prove it again and again in every single engagement and interactions and touch point that you have with another person or with a product and services, that you keep showing that you're trustworthy. So
I mean, you saw it. Obviously, you saw it, like, because it's trust wallet. Like those two
we do have a
keywords
good
are,
brand. Yeah. We do have a good brand, but then
Yeah.
also it's a high expectation for us to live up for it.
to deliver the
To
expectations.
deliver, exactly. I think something, in our company, there are a couple of values, and one of the values two important values I think really help us to build trust. One is integrity, which usually a lot of the business put it as, by default, you should have integrity. But why I emphasize that to my team is that we are still in a fast-growing new industry, that sometimes we do get a reputation as an industry that there were so many scammers, then businesses are not carried out in a way with the right incentives to take care of everybody involved with the product and the services. Then I do hope Trust Wallet can, if anything, can leave in the industry, is to leave a good legacy for long-term focus, self-sustainable business that can hold up to a high integrity and principle standards, to be able to influence the culture here. I think will be the most important
a
thing.
very corporate answer.
It is a corporate
Like,
answer, but I think you have to believe it. And then for a wallet, for a project surviving 7 years, you'll be like, ultimately, you're not necessarily competing on how quickly go to market with a particular groundbreaking innovation. You are trying to hold up to a principle and the standards that you represent. And then looking not into how do I make money or how do I get users for the next year in order to survive, but thinking about, can I lead the business, the project, the community, and the users to still be together for 5 to 10 years or even 20 years, which is long horizon in our industry.
Yes.
But you need to have that in order to make the right decision point. And this is a corporate answer, but coming down to specifically trust, one important thing is be able to make the right decision when you make mistakes. So in our industry, security is a big challenge, and then that's the foundation. But there's no 100% security. No one can ever promise you that you can 100% trust the security of anything. So then there are so many details to take care of in order to create a higher sense of security for your product and services.
Being
to
in a
users.
security business, okay, definitely doing mistakes is very helpful, but
Yeah.
a mistake from your side, it's very expensive.
Yes, very expensive.
Very expensive money-wise, very expensive trust-wise.
To the users-wise,
yes.
absolutely. So that's why earlier this year, in the beginning of the year, we're the first wallet ever, both hardware wallet and software wallet, to have the global certificate on ISO certificate on security and privacy. And that actually took us 1 year behind the scene to, work out with our teams, the processes, the procedures, yes, the corporate stuff. But then the reason why we have it is we need a better way to organize ourselves and set the principles and the standards so that everyone in the company in their respective position can make the right decisions and can also take the right actions when they're in country situations. So those are behind the scene. No one see it, but then you need to set up the framework and the structures so that the teams are empowered to not really risk users' funds or expensive mistakes. But even when there are expensive mistakes happen, which sometimes happen, is that there is an engineering bug for whatever reason, users' funds are sent to a null address. Those things sometimes does happen. Then the thing is, we do reimburse users 100%. for our mistakes.
That's nice.
And that's actually some of the users were initially frustrating about, I cannot find my money. And then we're honest about it. We'll be like, this is our problem, our mistakes. Even for users who haven't found it, we automatically drop the money because we know the wallet addresses that were affected to their account, even if they don't contact us.
I mean, it's always in this customer service experiences, right? It's always the behavior after the fact, right? After post situation, right?
Yes.
It's that makes you to stay with the company or just leave it forever.
Yes.
Because it's okay. We are all humans, and shit can happen, right? But then if I see that you have already like 5 guys dedicated to my case, working 24/7, keep me updated, and I see that you are putting as a top priority, not really like at the personal level for me, but as a customer experience. And then you solve the problem and you fully refund, apologize, and do all the things, and we found the source and we fix it, and from now on we are like 1, 2, 3. That's a totally different story, right? Then
absolutely.
Just we'll come back to you or whatever.
Exactly, because you can now trust,
you
right? You can trust that they know how to take ownership for the mistakes, so that you can trust that in the future, if there's a mistakes happen, higher likelihood that they will also take care of it, right? So it becomes one of the strongest retention factor.
Exactly.
If you solve people's problem, and many of the users are actually quite forgiving, because they don't see this kind of behavior happen very often in our industries to do it. So as long as we're alive and we're around, we take prudent decisions, and we want to always take the ownerships as much as we can to treat the users right. I think that was the trust that builds. And I once said, trust has been the best retention strategy for us in the bear market. In 2022 to 2020, end of 2023, during the bear market period of time, our market share doubled. And we didn't spend any money on marketing, almost nothing. And it was all because of organic growth, and then people's trust when they don't know when people are not DJing outside, and then they need a safer home. I was very happy to see that many people do see Trust Wallet as a home for their cryptos on chains, and then choose to stay with us. That no matter where people go as a journey, if you can be someone's trustworthy home, I think that's high impact and high value.
Yeah, definitely you are doing great things with the company.
Thank you.
When it comes to this retention and taking the right decisions, you as a CEO, you have 2 colleagues. You have the boring guy who solves like basic problems, fundamental, but in a very boring way, right?
Yes.
But then you have the guy, the junior, who just came, and he's super excited, and enthusiasm is his keyword attached. Okay, and he's able to bring at the table those innovations.
Yes.
Where would you put more weight? Like, do you go and say, no, we need to have this strategy, or you give more voice to the young guys, which obviously the innovation, again, in your business is highly risky moves, right?
Yeah. There are 2 factors when I'm thinking about that. The first one is cultures. I always appreciate people who take proactiveness, the passion, the motivation, the care that sometimes I see drives the best decisions. And usually I will put people in what they are passionate about and care about, because then I can also trust them that they will do the best that they can because of the passion and care that they have over there. At the same time, the second way that I would think about it is different people have different talents and strengths. So it's never, this person is always absolutely right and this person is always absolutely wrong. It's about putting the people in the right respective position that they fit. So for anything that I need, stability, steadiness, high experiences, like high reliability, I'll probably put that boring person on. The condition is that the boring person does know and can deliver reliable, not necessarily innovative solutions, but highly reliable for stability purposes.
Maintaining the status quo.
Maintaining the status quo, maintaining even the most foundational infrastructure sometimes, that you do need this kind of people, because not every innovation is worthwhile. Sometimes it's not worthy to reinvent the wheel, no matter how passionate you might be about it, right? If there's already a good best practices, you just want steady core execution getting done, like no mistakes. On the other side, when it's like on the edge, no best practices, no good, solutions to be out there, and then people with passion want to tread the untreaded territory, want to be lazy for the future by being innovative with the current solution, by all means. And I think those are the people best for those type of work. So ultimately, it's about putting the right people with the right motivation, skill set, and the role fit for the team to complement each other. Is from the management perspective is what I will approach this.
Yes. For you as a CEO, right? But I want to enter a little bit on this part.
Yeah.
Behind this front-end product as the CEO, right? When you go back home,
yes,
what's your the biggest fulfillment from the entire this business landscape? When you go back, you see, oh, that's very, very nice. I just feel so happy.
Yeah, I'm doing my job. Actually, I was involuntarily taking on this role is because I wanted to fulfill someone else's expectations and, do a good job to carry the responsibility forward. So for me, the name, the money, the power doesn't mean much at all. Like that doesn't give me fulfillment. And we're talking about the name.
Because you already have it? Or
No. I don't think they're the right... They are not the right drivers, nor they are reliable drivers for me. I intentionally chose my name, Eowyn. That was from the Lord of the Rings. We touched about it briefly when we were chatting. It was an intentional decision because by coming out here publicly, sometimes people feel that, oh, you got such a great job, flat, like spotlights, and then everything seems to be glorious.
Panels, traveling.
It can be tempting a lot with all the things that you see from the outside, as if this is both your true worth, or it looks like this is a good life in the end goal. What I want the name Eowyn every time people call me to remind me of is from the Lord of the Rings, the one that can carry the ring to the destination is the one that carries the power that the ring brings the least. So if you want to achieve a mission, you cannot desire a lot of the auxiliary good things around it. And Eowyn, this character, defies the tradition, and also at the same time she sacrificed in the end. For me, I think it's very important, especially when we're building in the crypto industry, in the Web3 industry, is to thinking about the ultimate decentralization is that you need to disappear at some point. And so don't crave for the fame, don't crave for the spotlight, don't crave for the money and the power that you may come along with this, so that you can carry the mission towards the end. And for me, the mission has always been how to empower people through technology. So I don't believe technology can change human nature. But that's why I believe that building a good product that's taking human nature seriously but enhance the human life is what I believe is practical and achievable. And the fulfillment that you asked me as I come back to the end of the day is what are the human lives that I get to touch upon? either by the product that we do or by the communications or engagement that I have in that day. So this is a stories I always remember, and then I think that gives me and the team a lot of strength with the product. And the value of self-custody was Trust Wallet was actually used by some charity organization to give donation to Afghan war refugees. So when those refugees have to cross the border of the Taliban's, they cannot carry anything. So your gold, your cash, your cards, anything that you think represents your assets, you cannot pass the inspection. So then what can those refugees do is that they store their assets in the on-chain, on the blockchain, in the crypto format. And they do remember the 12-word secret phrase. And then they pass the border with nothing. When they are getting to somewhere that's safe, they have the internet access, they get a cheap phone, download the app, and it doesn't even have to be Trust Wallet. It can be any app, but it just happens to be very easy to use. So they use us, put in the 12 secret word, and then boom, they can get access to their assets.
Catch me if you can.
And then I do feel that you can help people to protect their assets, that they ultimately have ownership, that they have the choice to choose to go self-custody that fully on their own and protect them from physical danger situations that they cannot control. That is a very powerful mission. But this is only one side of the wallet with the self-custody side.
I'm 100% sure that that that's available for the bad boys as well. I mean, the drug dealer can do the same thing.
Yeah. That's why there are gatekeepings at some point. And that's why the fiat gateway has become an important one. So, and I do think centralized entities, when it comes down to touching fiats, fulfilling a good gateway keeping compliance aspects is quite important. I have a friend recently got scammed, and then the way how I help her is I saw that the funds ultimately the scammer needs to move out, needs to go through a fiat channels. And I said, go to the police, get a law enforcement, get a legal court order, and then this is the centralized entity that can help you to freeze the criminal's money flow going forward, and then she can get a hope to get her money back. And I think the whole world needs a combination of the aspects together to fulfill different scenarios and the different needs. I'm never a super black and white person. I think it's all about the right context and the right for the right solutions.
I mean, when it comes to scammy things, your entire job finishes at when the liquidity reaches the fiat, right? There is the border.
You mean the blockchain's job finishes? Yes.
Yeah, I mean, that's maximum that you can do, right? And then you just go to the authorities. That's it.
Yeah, but even with the blockchain world, honestly, wallet's role is a window. It's a door, it's an access, but sometimes many users expect wallets to be the banks that helps them to manage their assets or freeze account or do such tracking, which we cannot, right? So I think it's important to realize what is the product value proposition that you provide for a user's entire crypto blockchain journey and fulfill that role and that mission very well and do as much as possible to stretch it, but also know your limitations. There are certain businesses that we're not in, that we're just not in. Just like we're not going down to build a DEX. We're not a DEX business, nor we're a forensic business, etc. So it's important to know your values and identify who you are and be focused in delivering that value.
Isn't this part strange where people still have this bank system uninstalled, right? Even they started using the decentralization product, right? But I mean, look at these guys. They are just keeping their Bitcoin in a third party bank services. What do you think about these guys?
As I said, in the right context, people's risks are different, and people should choose a combination of factors to help them to achieve the best risk result. What I mean by that, for example, when I was moving from the US to UAE, I actually moved my cryptos from cold wallet, hardware wallet, soft wallet to exchange. because the risk while I'm moving, my physical risk to lose a particular assets while we're we're going everywhere is higher than a centralized exchange going bankrupt or somehow the trustworthy ones that going out of businesses. So in that situation, then the risks on the centralized entities are lower than I would put the assets over there for custody. But then when I'm settling over here, I get a feel a safe house, and then we all moving, we find a proper place to store things appropriately. The physical risk becomes quite low, and the potentially lower than the centralized entities risk. Then I move the funds over as I don't touch it. So that's an example. I said that don't go by really rigid principles. Every decision needs to be assessed by context. And all the product, all the solutions that we provide is to give people the options and the freedom for them to choose what ultimately fits into that particular context. So I don't want it to kind of put a centralized entity just on the shaming pole and say that, oh, you guys are so evil, you are absolutely 100% worse than the on-chain solution and self-custody solution. I think that's not objective, nor that's very bigoted to some extent. So that will be how I usually suggest other people to have a balanced view, considering their own context, be smart about when to pull what options that fits their purposes the most.
For visionary builders like you and people who got the entire game, like exactly what's going on, and
I hope so.
You look like
I hope.
Why don't you start your own journey, like a company that, okay, maybe Trust Wallet is the right place to be in terms of values, principles, you are building in the right direction with them. But because you mentioned earlier this part with this fulfillment, personal fulfillment, would you consider that as a further move for you as a person?
I will let you know if I'm starting a company or funds or something. I do. So my career journey is quite interesting. It's a lot of serendipity.
Because at the end, you are still an employee, right?
Yes, you're absolutely right. I do believe that God will take your steps one step at a time. I'm never the kind of person that I'm in a position that I'm looking at 3 steps ahead, because I do trust God will take care of me going into the future. But I usually focus on what is the purpose that God puts me where I am, and how to deliver the most value for the people around me and my mission and responsibility to Him. And how I got into the industry was like that. Like I got in, you're in 2017. I actually got in 2018. I also know so much about crypto because I was in San Francisco in 2017. Half of the guys in the city were talking about some shitcoin. And it kind of feels like grandma is buying stocks in the supermarket. Yeah. I'm usually a contrarian. So when everything seems very rosy, bubbly, everyone's cheering for it, I'm be like, it's too much emotion to see the truth. So I waited until the crypto market actually crashed in 2018. Everyone's pessimistic. People are leaving, not touching crypto anymore, and be like, now it's a more interesting time to see if there's something substantial with the industry. And as I said, I care quite a lot about technology might be enhancing human life. So I was looking at either blockchain or AI. And blockchain, from the ideological perspective, really aligns with what I think that empowers normal people, because AI, to do it right, you need much more concentrations of capitals, computing power, data, energy, all those things combined. So it's not a everyday people's game. It's more of a bigger company, superpower type of game. But how to break into the crypto or blockchain space was completely serendipity. It was the...
Where did you see the God sign for you?
So here it comes.
Yes.
Here it comes. I was hosting a Bible study in San Francisco, and one of my friends was Binance Labs first CEO. And one day she brought 2 ladies to my apartment, and one of them was the co-founder of Binance. And she didn't even understand English at that time. But we're just like having a conversation, and I was praying for her. The next day, we're having a coffee chat. We ended up talking for 10 hours. And she shared so much with me in a very transparent, candid way. At the time, Binance was 1 year old, 2018. It was absolutely a rock star, black ship, the David that's trying to conquer Goliath. But it's also having lots of challenges. And she was saying that, oh, I really need help. Can you come to help me? And that was the moment that God does give me an inkling. I said that, and she gives me a 30% pay cut.
Oh my God.
Yes. But God was like, yes, the most value that you can deliver is to help the woman in front of you. So I took the job. I become her assistant. That's how I got into crypto. But I was not doing the fancy job I was doing in my previous job. I was almost a general manager for a region to do go-to-market for startups. I was paying her bills. I was driving her around. I was helping her to find English classes. Meanwhile, helping her to translate, managing teams. I do whatever that gives her values, that helps her out. So for me, I think that was the door that led me into the web. I learned so much from her. You do marketing. I do think Binance has a classic playbook about how to build a global community from bottom up rather than top down. Build a really strong brand, a strong cult following globally. And I was so lucky to be able to witness that growth period from 2018 to 2022, and ended up leading the entire Binance marketing team before I left Binance was because I just keep focusing on how to deliver value for her. As her scope continued to increase, I take on more. I didn't have a marketing background, but I need to build a marketing team. So I take every opportunity when I was interviewing candidates to both assessing whether they are the right talent fit and also learn from them. I only hire people who are stronger than me for those roles so that they can be the right team. And, that was a serendipitous moment. And I was not thinking about going to Trust Wallet, but I did hit a little bit confusion point and plateau in 2022. That was the end of the bull run. Doing marketing at Centralized Exchange is about, hey, have we done this brand partnership with this kind of football star, or doing a naming rights with that studio? I'm like, yes, I'm learning tons from traditional brand marketing partnerships. It was very glamorous, exciting, interesting, like 60 million, 100 million deals here and there. But it kind of defeats the purpose about when I joined the industry, when I feel the passion, the opportunity for blockchain to empower people. So then serendipitous moments coming again. I was just hanging out with Trust Wallet's founder, Victor, because Trust Wallet was acquired by Binance in 2018. So we're the same cohort class that joined the Binance ecosystem together. And he was like, oh, I'm so tired of doing anything outside of product engineering. I just want someone to help me take care of all those crap. And be like, he is an amazing person, both from value principle and also the product engineering perspective. I just wanted to work with him. I don't care about title. I don't care about what I do. I'm just like, yeah, I wanted to help you out for whatever that you want to do. So that's how I joined Trust Wallet.
But how do you deal, for example, if you see a colleague, a junior, or even, it might be even a higher position, that is not 100% dedicated, but you know that in real life she has a lot of needs, right?
Yeah.
And then you can say that God put her or put him in this position, and if you just give her termination, then will be in a very tough position.
Yeah.
But business-wise, you know that she's not delivering.
Yeah. I think those are the tough moments that you both need to be responsible for the business and for the person.
What will be your decision?
Yeah. I will have a conversation with that person. Is that what was the needs and the situation? Is it within either me personally able to help or with the company's range that can help out? You usually want to offer help first. If there's some personal struggle, do you need time off? Do you want to take care of some stuff, right? So those are all the possible things that really can ease out someone's tough situations. But I will also be frank about their performance in the company. I said that you're not performing on par. And I wanted to give them a chance for them to share why. Is it only because of personal situations that are distracting them? If so, then go take care of the personal situations and then come back. Or the job may not be the right fit for them in their life anymore.
And how much length are you able to give to this situation?
I do give a second chance. So in the beginning, we'll try to see how much that we can help. And I will say, I wanted to see things getting better. But when things are not getting better, when opportunities are provided, then I need to be responsible for the business and be like, this might not be the right fit for you because you'll feel extremely stressed that you're not meeting expectation here and there. But what I will do is I will offer giving them recommendations. I will offer to help them to land on whatever opportunity that they wanted to land on the next job. If they need an interview for ref calls, I will jump onto those calls to advocate for them if I do believe that they are the right fit for the role that they're interviewing for. And that's my principle, is that people have the context, offer help, treat them as people, but you need to treat the problems with the factual problems itself. Sometimes we can help, but keeping them stuck in a particular place might not be the best help for them either. And those are also the moments that I do pray, and I do pray that like there are so many factors going behind the scene that ultimately God will take care of the person as well.
When it comes to personal achievements, where do you see, like, how much do you expect from God on this journey, and how much do you expect from yourself? Like, let's say in the next 3 years, you want to be in this position. Okay, I want to develop this next version of myself, right? How much do I rely on God on this, on how much I will actually take action on towards that goal?
Yeah.
How do you see this?
This becomes a little bit of my values. I think the most important thing for a human on earth is not necessarily the achievements that you get in the end. I don't think the success, the failures, or even what I contribute right now onto the job defines my value and worth. There are so many things that can happen that defines whether things got achieved or not, or failures. And you might be hitting the height of your life, and the next day you're going downhill. But it doesn't mean that your worth change. So for me, life journey is about building characters, becoming a better person, because that's something that no one can take that away from you. No situations can take that away from you. And that's my ultimate achievement that I'm looking at for my entire life journey. And in this entire life journey, when I'm building up my characters, trying to become a better person of myself, fulfilling the potentials, the God-given talents, potentials that give me, I will focusing on what is the goal for me here right now? Like how do I make a decision, take an action, speak particular words that can help me to achieve that long-term life mission goal of character building?
Give me a little bit of zoom in this word better.
For example, in the postmodern world in the US, I think it becomes very difficult for people to say what is good morality. But for me, I do believe that morality is a general principle base. Am I being honest? Am I being responsible? Do I build much perseverance? Do I build patience? Have I been kind? Have self-patience? Have I been loving towards people? Yet do I treat the problems with the right approach, being right skilled? All those things I think can have degrees about what each scale is called better. And of course, everyone's different, right? So the path for them to grow is slightly better. And
Thanks God we are different.
Yes. There's no same leaves nor people.
But do you think kindness, it's actually a weakness in business?
I think kindness towards people is very important, but being soft And no boundary is wrong in business. But it doesn't mean that by being kind, you have to have always back out, like with no boundaries, like cannot say no. It doesn't equal to being kind. I think those are two separate things. I'm a very principle-based and firm person when it comes down to negotiations. I will look at, this is what we can deliver on the table. This is what you deliver on the table. This is what we want. This is what you want. What's a fair deal? But I can be kind about how we achieve a fair deal and how I do consider your interests rather than taking all the profit from the table and doesn't care about you at all, right? And I think that is part of it, is by being kind means having win-win situations and building a relationship in the process that can flourish in the longer term, rather than this is a zero-sum game. I'm taking so much on the table, squeezing you out, and then that will, even though that might be seen as, oh, you win on this deal, but without that kindness and that vision for a more long term and caring that this is a people behind the other scene, then they have their responsibilities to fulfill. It's not going to win in the longer term either. Yeah. If that makes sense from a business and kind perspective.
What do you think is more important from your personal view? The end result? I mean, when it comes to negotiations, right? The end result or the conditions?
End results or conditions. It kind of depends on case by case. Sometimes conditions are more important than the particular end results because, for example, for a particular deal, you might need more flexibility. You might not want exclusivity, and then you're willing to give out more as in return for certain commercial contracts. It does require a specific situation to analyze where is that trade-off that falls in for the right place. So basically on this part, I don't have a principles in that this one always win. It needs to be analyzed.
I mean, in just to give you a little bit context, in your business, for example, what will be the end result for the user? This trust, this safety, right? Like I just want my assets I want to sleep well at night, right? But then the conditions to achieve the end result, you put all these business layers, right? You need to pay this much, you need to do 1, 2, 3, you need to have these terms and conditions in place. I'm giving you the end result, but I put the conditions.
Yes.
Right? Yes. So then it's a matter of, okay, from my side, I'm giving you by default the end result, right? But then I'm let's say I'm squeezing you through the conditions. Squeezing you is maybe is not the right word, but
I'm trying to digest what you're saying over here. Again, I think everyone needs to make their own decision with their trade-off. Someone, for example, will really, really care about privacy or care about complete decentralization or no censorship, no gatekeeping at all, right? They might not be willing to accept a certain condition for that end result. Then they will not accept it. What we will do, as I'm thinking from product perspective, is that because we're designing product for the everyday people, we're designing product with the mass market in mind. Of course, the definition keeps changing as the industry's adoption level changing. I need to, if I'm doing a complete new niche product, the scale is different. But for Trust Wallet, we'll be looking at what is the likely to be the trade-off that the mass market will be able to accept for the end results, and for me to continue to be able to serve mass markets. So that's why I would never be able to do something like, oh, we wanted to completely fight against like no compliance check or things at all if the regulations are already in place that require self-custody wallet to do particular things. I wouldn't be that ultimate so-called freedom fighter, like ultimate decentralized fighter for those things, because it limits Trust Wallet's mission to serve the masses.
You told me that you are not a black and white approach leader.
I don't think there's anything in the world that's 100% black and white. There are principles, but the principles needs to have flexibility to consider for the situations and the people. And everyone's scale is different.
Do you think this is the most valuable skill for one business person to be flexible?
No.
Like,
Yeah.
I mean, like in business, for example, the strongest your principles are, like you might be too strict, and you are kind of limit yourself, right?
That's why it's a scale. That's why it's a 15 shades of gray, choosing the scale. But for a business that doesn't have any principle behind the scene, then people don't know how to make decisions that has the right bottom line. Then you don't have the culture or the values limits that defines who you are, your business, your brand, your product. So I think it's very important for the decision maker and the decision-making framework to have the principles, but then allowing the grace in situations to consider for flexibilities. And that's always hard. That's why decision-making is never a science. That's why computer can never 100% do human decision-making for all human context. But that's why leaders are leaders, and then decision owners are decision owners.
That makes the difference.
Yes.
Have you had moments in your life when you became upset on God?
Oh, yeah.
Like you
I was an atheist.
You felt, oh, wow.
Yeah, I was an atheist. I only became Christian when I was 23. I think the most important thing for me, I do think God gave me lots of talents. And sometimes with people who being smart and with lots of talents, it's very easy to be proud. And one of the most important things for me, in my experience with God and with achievements, with end results, with all the things, is to be able to be humble. And be humble in the way knowing that I don't know all things, no matter how much I try. I don't control all situations, no matter how much I try to gain power to control. And there are certain mysteries when it comes down to knowledge, when it comes down to results and achievements, is beyond human comprehension. So if I happen to be having the grace and the opportunity to glimpse either knowledge or wisdoms or maturity or achievements at a certain level, that's a grace for me. And those are the patience allows me to persevere through in difficult times that I previously was very frustrated with God and said that, why don't you let things happen? Why don't you protect these people? Why is there injustice everywhere? I think the quality over here is that you have to, for me, being humble and know thy limits, but still persevere through for the best, is as a human being then what we can do and can have a much healthy relationship with God and with the world that we are around.
Let's imagine a situation where you want something, but like from your core level, right? From the deepest point of your heart, you want that thing to happen. And then you do absolutely everything for it. With your values, with your all your core principles attached, and it's not happening.
And I think this is where humility comes. Know thy limits, that I don't control the end results. I do my best, and throughout the process, I train my characters. I train my skill sets. And one of the important things with the characters is faith. Do I have faith that ultimately all things will work out for the good, even though I don't understand it, even though I don't see it? And particularly, why does war happen? Why is there hunger? Why do human beings cannot just improve on their greediness level, right? And why do people still crave for power hunger that allows all those miseries to happen? As I said, that's why human nature doesn't change. And that's the reality when we desire for the beautiful things, the good things, which will always inspire us. But then we need to know the reality and be practical about it and be humble and leave God to what God can do. And we do what we can do.
Do you think you need God more than God needs you?
Yes.
Why?
because I'm limited. And God doesn't really, why do I think God would need me if he's perfect? I need God is because I experienced God's presence that completely transformed who I am as a person, my characters, my beings. And that betterness that we kind of talking about, of being a better state, a better human, of course, I want that and I hope for that. And I need God to help me for it.
Yes, absolutely. But
Yeah.
after that,
Yeah.
there is a fulfillment from his side. Because once you became from a black dot, a white dot, right, as a light,
Yeah.
to put it like that, then you have to be part of something. You have to, this entire journey from black to white, it should have a sort of contribution to something.
Maybe.
And
Yeah.
maybe that something belongs to him.
Yeah, it clearly first contributes to me in 100% obvious way. It maybe contribute to him, let's say 20 to 50% of the way. Then that's what I said, that I need him more than he needs me, even given by the percentage of the probabilities. But ultimately, the thing is, again, do I know God? Do I know how he feels about me turning back? Yes. At least according to my faith, when I'm reading the Bible, there was a story about God as a shepherd. If he has 100 sheep, then he lost one sheep. What will he do? He will leave the 99 sheep to look for the one sheep and be very, very happy about it and celebrate it for the one sheep to come back. Yes, you're absolutely right. Will God be happy about it? I think God will be. But still, as the lost sheep, I probably won't survive without the shepherd. But then the shepherd still has 99 sheep rather than one sheep. So that's how, according to my faith, and then the principles that I abide by, then how do I approach the thinking with how much I need him versus he needs me.
Absolutely beautiful.
Yeah.
Ewoyn, just want to thank you very much for your presence here. You
No
are
problem.
Such a beautiful soul,
Thank
inside,
you.
outside.
This has been the most non-crypto conversations that I've ever had. But again, right, like we're all on an exciting journey, and you are sharing stories and people behind the projects. Ultimately, I want our space to flourish. I may be one day doing something that I feel, oh, God puts me in the situation that I'm best positioned to deliver value there, I will do so. But even if it doesn't, or anybody else who's the founder making an effort for it, again, it's a gift if we do achievements and amazing things we will strive for. But it's also important what kind of people we become in the process. So don't be a scammer. Don't be a hacker. What's the worth if you gain the whole world but lose your soul? Right. And then how we want our industry to be long surviving and be a proud industry that we're working in no matter where we go. I hope we can focus on more long-term and fundamental stuff.
I started this podcast to meet people like you and have this type of conversations.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you. Thank you for giving me the, this is my first time that I share what I share with you in a relatively more public forum, because there was also a lot of fear inside me about, do I want to put something like this out there because people may judge or feel a different way. But these are sometimes the godly moments that you feel that, hey, this is why God put us into this conversation. I can talk about a million other things about project, about crypto industry or something else, but maybe this is what adds value the most.
Exactly.
And then we just go through
I
this.
want people to see this inside of you as a leader, to see that, okay, now whatever you want to do, because we are connected, right?
Yeah.
At a different level than business-wise.
Yes.
So I think that's job done.
Yeah.
So I'll just want to keep it open for part 2, because I discovered a personality that I like it so much, and I want to discover even more.
Okay. Happy
this,
for that. Yeah, you're right. I don't know why. I'm tearing up.
No, that's fine.
Yeah,
that's fine.
yeah.
It's absolutely beautiful. So I anytime when you consider, Like I want you to come here again
Mm-hmm.
and put your heart. Like I want to give you this voice, this moment when you can literally express your entire soul, like all your
Mm-hmm.
internal conversations and the way how you see things around, the way how you want to build. I
Yeah.
think it's absolutely beautiful.
Yeah. Thank you for that, Danny.
Nothing to add, guys. Thank you very much for watching. See you again on the next one.